Hi there. My name is Stephen Toulouse. I'm commonly known by my internet nickname Steptoe. And I'm a friend of Will's and have been in the industry for a while. I've worked at Xbox and HBO and all that stuff. Tell you a little bit about what we're going to do today. We're going to open up with just a couple of questions from myself. Will and I are going to discuss some of his recent projects, and then we're going to open it up to the audience for you guys to be able to talk to him as well. So without any further ado, let me welcome to the stage Mr. Wil Wheaton.
Good morning. Thank you.
They look lovely.
How do you want to do this?
Do we want to do the...
I think we should do this TV talk show style, where you're there and I'm here.
I like it. So
I'm Andy Richter today.
I'm not a headliner. No way. So how are you?
I'm well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
That's
rested.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, you went to bed an hour before I did last night.
I did.
Steptoe tried to talk me into going to ground control last night, and I was like, I would love to do that because that's amazing, but I'm exhausted and I need to go to sleep. And then a friend of mine just sort of waylaid my wife and me and was like, oh, look, a drink. Let's sit down and have a drink. And then it was 11 o'clock.
It's called time travel.
Yeah. Yeah. And only in one unfortunate direction.
There is no going back to.
No, there's not.
So, catch us up a little bit. We talked last year, had a good time, but you've done some things since. You've got a new podcast with Mikey.
Yeah. So since I was here last, I started a podcast with my friend Mikey Newman. It is called TV Crimes, a work of podcast justice. I'm really proud of it, and it's really just stupid and hilarious to us. Mikey and I watch TV that took itself way too seriously from the 80s and 90s, and then we kind of recap what we've seen, and then we hold it accountable for its crimes and sentence it. And I'm really proud of it, and I think it's really funny. And we're featured in the iTunes New and Noteworthy this week, which is kind of a big deal for us. Yeah. I restarted my podcast, Radio Free Burrito, which is back on almost every week.
Yeah.
And I did a thing called Titan's Grave for Geek and Sundry. That some of you have heard about.
Apparently.
One
or two fans.
It was a role-playing television show, a spin-off from Tabletop, where I was a game master and I ran some amazing players through 10 episodes of a story that I wrote with my son Ryan, and in a role-playing engine called the Adventure Game Engine that our friends Chris and Nicole at Green Ronin created and published. And I don't know if you all know this, but we've been renewed for a second season. And yeah, I'm super excited about it. My show Tabletop is coming back for its 4th season next year. We're excited about that. And I have been in relatively high-level creative talks with some folks at Geek and Sundry to do some narrative fiction scripted programming.
Excellent. Excellent. So,
yeah, so it's been a busy year.
It sounds like it. And in that time, you've actually in your free time, spare free time, I guess, as you describe that, you and Ann have been involved in some charity stuff. I believe you have something coming up this week.
My wife Ann and I have a foundation that we formed, inspired by Hank and John Green's Foundation to Decrease World Suck. I love them and I love their foundation, and I started a foundation with Ann, and it's called the Foundation to Increase Awesome. And what we do is I take advantage of the incredible privilege I have to know amazing people and have access to cool, awesome stuff. And we get awesome stuff from our friends, and then we auction it, and then get that awesome thing to a person, and then whatever we raise in our auctions, we then turn around and use to support awesome causes. And this time of year, we're supporting the Pasadena Humane Society. There's an annual thing that they do called the Wiggle Waggle Walk. It's a fundraiser for the Humane Society and SPCA in Pasadena, where my wife is a board member. And we've raised a little over $80,000 over the last couple of years to help animals because we have rescued pets and we love them.
Yes.
And what's happening right now is so for the last few years, I've written these tweets from a book that my dog is writing.
Yes.
And it's called Seamus Wheaton's Guide to Being a Dog. And it's full of really helpful advice for like how to be a dog. Things like always bark at the wind. The humans won't understand it, but we must remain vigilant.
Yes. It's very true.
Right? The mailman, F that guy, right? If you want to see how fast the humans can move, drag your ass across the carpet the second they get into bed.
We're a blur of motion.
We make the poop, we eat the poop, circle of life, right? Stuff like that. So for a long time, people have been asking me to release these as an actual book that people could actually have in their hands and read. So Anne and I asked our friend Lar D'Souza, who's an illustrator, probably best known for drawing Looking for Group and some other things, if he would illustrate some of these tweets. So he did. And we have this book of our dog Seamus teaching our puppy Marlo how to be a dog. And it's adorable and I love it. And it's available on our website, increaseawesome.org. And all the money that we raise from it is going straight to the Pasadena Humane Society.
Oh, that's great.
So we're real excited about that.
I've tried for the life of me to get my dog Basil to write a book. He's not into it. I think he just needs a power song.
It's funny as people tell me, I think my dog's been reading your dog's book.
So we've talked in the past a little bit about anxiety and different challenges that people can have with mental
Yes.
health. One that I found that is cropping up a lot with my friends who are creative friends in general that I wanted to ask you about was the concept of imposter syndrome.
Oh, I know that very well. Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that once they're describing the feeling and I'm saying, oh, I think that's imposter syndrome, and they're like, that's the best name in the world for it because they hadn't really heard of it. So tell us a little bit about your thoughts on that as well.
Imposter syndrome, the name imposter syndrome, I think Joel Watson was the first person who I heard say that. Joel's a friend of ours. He draws a comic called Hijinks Ensue, and he also draws a comic called Sharksplode that's super, super funny. And imposter syndrome is this thing that happens to creative people where we're working really hard to make things, and we might even have some success in our creations, but there is this voice that's in the back of our head, and I've described it as the mom from the movie Carrie, where, right? Where she's like, they're all gonna laugh at you, they're all gonna laugh at you, right? And we feel like, 5,000 people might be saying, I really love this thing that you made, and it really matters to me. But those two guys on 4chan, they really know the truth. Like, they know how much I suck. Everybody else is just lying to me. Everybody else is just like trying to be my friend because
they're keeping it real.
Yeah, and it is this thing that I think has plagued artists forever. In my readings about like actors and writers, I am in love with a podcast called You Must Remember This.
Yes.
That is all about the secret and or forgotten history of Hollywood's first century that Karina Longworth does. And she just does these incredible deep dives into the people that kind of invented the entertainment industry and created movies and then went on to create TV. And even people who were massive movie stars in the 30s and 40s, when like being a massive movie star was an even bigger deal than it is now because there were just not as many of them, felt like, oh my God, they're gonna know. That audience they're gonna figure it out, and they're gonna figure out that I'm a fraud. And it's this thing that we struggle with all the time. And I get to talk to creative people, and it's one of the great joys of my life is going to conventions or going to schools and talking to creative people and sharing some of my experience and trying to help people. I once had a teacher who said, I want you to write this down, I want you to internalize this, and I want you to start out with this sentence: I hung on this cross so you don't have to. and I get to talk to people about exactly imposter syndrome And it is this thing that we really struggle with. I love this thing that I am creating, and it feels really good, but my brain is telling me that I suck. And Chris Hardwick said that's your brain trying to protect you. It's your brain trying to save you from being creatively vulnerable. And your brain thinks that it's like actually doing something good for you, right? By like keeping you safe. Your brain's being a dick.
Yeah. As brains are wont to do from time to time.
Yeah, as well, especially ones like mine.
Yes.
And I think that, so what's really interesting is that we have these creative struggles, but we all have them, right? And we all have imposter syndrome at one time or another. It's like a great relationship, a great partnership. My marriage with my wife is this phenomenal partnership, right? And when one of us is having a shit day, then the other one is like, all right, I'm gonna help you get through this, you know? And like we just sort of like go back and forth like that. And it's the same thing with artists, right? I can be like having the worst imposter syndrome ever, and I'll talk to like John Scalzi, and he'll be like, here, come, just step back from the ledge a little bit.
Yeah.
It's fine, you know? And then Joel will be having a massively bad day, and I'll be like, dude, no, what are you talking about? And it was Joel who said, in response to people being jerks on the internet, you make things, they make comments.
Yeah.
Which I thought was awesome.
Yes.
And it is, I imagine that a lot of us gathered in this room today are creative to some extent or another. We write, we make things, we paint, we draw, we make amazing cosplay. Like we do all of these things, and there's always going to be some dickwagon who's just like, oh hey, well you did it, you know. And the thing is, like that is how you have to hear it in your head.
Yeah.
You know, when someone's like, oh hey, so I bet you didn't know that.
That's now going to go through my head every time.
Yeah, well, it should, because that's about as valuable as those comments are.
Yeah, and it's funny because when you talk to people and you describe it and you say, yes, I feel that too, and their eyes light up, you know, and as creative people and geeks in general, we tend to immediately pivot to the next question that's immediately in our minds, you know, is sort of, how do I stop that? How do I fix that?
Yeah,
right? So what are some ideas that you have about, like you're in that, you spoke about, you know, talking to other creative people. Are there any other, like for me, it's I always put on like, whatever power song or jam song I've got to have. It's basically the equivalent of Stuart Smalley's "You're Good Enough, You're Smart Enough, and doggone people like you."
Yeah. The death metal version of that?
Yeah. I basically find the hardest.
Right. Top 5 single in Norway right now.
Now, I'm telling you.
At this second. I don't know, man. I don't know how you get through it. I mean,
it's different for everyone.
Like everybody gets through it in their own way. But honestly, the thing that I just have to remember is like, you know, 50,000 people can't all be wrong.
Right.
And just got to trust that. And as an artist, get to a place where you're making something that you love, that you feel good about, and accept that what you made isn't going to be for everyone. And that's fine. You know, with Titan's Grave, my favorite episode of Titan's Grave is the 9th episode of Titan's Grave. It's the penultimate episode of the year, and there's we do not roll a single die in this episode, which is really risky for a show that's about a role-playing game. But it's just character development and storytelling. And when we made it, I knew a huge portion of the audience is not going to like this because of the way that because of the way that we've sort of shifted gears for storytelling. But I think an equally huge part of the audience is going to love it because they're invested in the characters. And each of those reactions is valid, right? I have to feel good about what I made, and I have to feel like, yeah, well, I made my choice. And I remember having a conversation with Felicia Day about this, where we were talking about somebody wanted us to work on a show, and like a web show or something like that. And I read the script and I was like, you know, I get what they're going for, but it's not. I don't like it. You know, it's not for me. And I think that it's gonna be really torn apart by the internet. And I would rather be torn apart by the internet for something that I love, that I believe in, where I'm just like, well, you know, you didn't get it, that's fine, than something that I knew I shouldn't have done, that I knew I didn't feel good about anyway, you know? And I think that part of that for all of us who are creative is just making the thing that we love and making it for ourselves and that one ideal person in the audience, whoever it is, and hoping other people come along for the ride.
Yeah, and I mean that's sort of the thing the satisfaction you get out of creating it is what drives you to continue to create it. From my perspective, I wanted to also ask you about your creative environment, because you have a lot of, let us call them irons in the fire, that are different creatively, from writing to podcasting to producing all these different things. Do you find that you change your sort of the environment that you end up creating in per those things, or is it just like one, I'm in my mindset, I'm ready to go no matter what it is?
I do all of my work at my desk in my office.
That's it?
Yeah, I've tried really hard to be able to move around. I really envy Cory Doctorow, who can just write anywhere with anything. You know, if he's like, well, if I have an idea and I don't have a pen, then I'm going to tear open a vein and write with my own blood, because he can work like that. I can't. So my creative environment really is like shutting off distractions for a certain number of hours, working for those hours until the time runs out, and then looking at what I made and walking away from it. And I think it's really important creatively also to take time to like reload and recharge, and it's easy to feel guilty for me, like, oh, I'm watching a movie, but I
should be creating.
Just watching a movie. I'm like getting inspired, you know. I'm getting like, I've lost count of the number of times I've watched Fury Road, because there's something different every time I watch it that is like so inspiring. I've been watching Mr. Robot, and there's something different every time I rewatch an episode. Or, you know, there's even things with like albums that I've listened to a million times. I just discovered a new musical phrase on side 3 of The Wall that you'd think I would have noticed by now, right? And these are things that are inspiring, that like kind of reload me creatively. And it's that other half of creative work that I think is super important, that we have to remember is like, it's not goofing off. Jerry and Mike at Penny Arcade have on their calendar every day we have to play video games.
Yeah.
And that's a weird thing to like have to do, right? But like I have to read a book. I have to watch this thing or whatever. Doing TV Crimes has been great for that.
Oh, I bet, yeah. Especially with the shows you guys have chosen. If you haven't checked that out, by the way, you absolutely should. It's
Our pilot episode was about Thunder in Paradise, the Hulk Hogan, yeah, boy, the Hulk Hogan boat show. You guys. Here's the thing about Thunder in Paradise that's so amazing. They shot the whole thing at Epcot Center. They dressed the Moroccan pavilion in the World Showcase at Epcot Center to look like generic, scary Middle Eastern nation with every offensive stereotype blended together to just mean brown guy. Like, it's amazing. They turned the Grand Floridian Beach Resort into like generic Caribbean place for bikinis. It's like technically it's amazing what they did. Like they took not a lot of money and really did a lot with what they had there, you know? At one point, they just take the Indiana Jones stunt show from the Disney studio. They recreate the entire stunt show as if you were in the audience watching the Indiana Jones stunt show. They've just replaced the Indiana Jones characters with Hulk Hogan and all of his buddies as they go through every single set piece in that show. The only thing missing is like a boulder, because it would have been a little identifiable. But even in that, I took inspiration out of that, because even though it's like, it's awful, but it's just, I'm just like, someone was like, you know, we could fill 20 minutes of this show for like $1,000, and like that's if we like do 2 takes, and you can take things out of even the worst stuff. Like the Drugs Are Bad episode of 90210 that we just did last week.
They are bad, okay?
That is a deeper and more complex examination of substance abuse than they gave in that episode of 90210. It's fantastic. Oh, it's so great. I'm so excited for the episode we're doing this week. I won't tell you what it is. No, I can't. I'll tell you that it's from Family Ties, but that's all I will tell you.
Oh, there's a wealth there, though.
Yeah.
There's a wealth.
Well, it's interesting because they handled, like, the dad doing this. Now, kids. Like, they handled that so much better than anything else, right? Like, it's so easy to just hear. When my kids were little, and I would be trying to, like, impart an important lesson to them about a thing, I would just hear... like, in the back of my head the whole time I'm talking to them. And I'm like, don't be Mr. Brady, don't be Mr. Brady, don't be Mr. Brady. And I could see them just tune out, and I'm like, Mr. Brady.
My favorite part of what you just did is I like to imagine two scenarios. One where you just did that extemporaneously, and the other where you actually spent some time rehearsing in front of a mirror.
With that music just playing,
to get the pitch just right to where if I'm ever asked on stage, I'll be able to perfectly recreate the Brady Bunch tune of the sort of the lecture thing. Oh, that's too funny. I was playing Red Dead the other day.
One of the greatest games of all time.
It's always interesting because I now play this game where I try to identify the voices of the friends I know.
Yeah, sure.
I think you're the newsboy.
I'm the newspaper kid,
yes.
yeah.
So,
and I'm a couple of random pedestrians in Blackwater.
Oh, really? I did not notice that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you a little bit about voice work because I find that to be an interesting take on the acting discipline. Do you find that there's, of course, there's different approaches that you take because the physicality of it is different.
Yes.
And how much energy you devote between the performance of the character, knowing full well that someone else is handling everything else other than sort of your, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a significant amount of collaboration, weirdly, that you may never see.
Yeah. So voice work is wonderful, and I'm really grateful for it. I don't know why, and I've struggled with this for almost the last 10 years. Other than a couple of really terrific things, other than Leverage and The Big Bang Theory and Eureka, I have really, really struggled to get on camera work. It feels to me like the industry is just not that into me. I can't. Over the last 3 years, I've averaged 4 on-camera auditions a year. And I consistently get down to the last 3 people, and they always hire somebody else. And it's frustrating, and it's depressing, and it's demoralizing. And I was really struggling with this late last year, and I was thinking, well, maybe it's time to just hang it up and accept that I will occasionally work on The Big Bang Theory. Now I have this character that will hopefully maybe become a reoccurring character on a show called Dark Matter, and maybe I'll get to do that a little bit. But those days of getting to be in a really amazing film, they're probably gone. Not because of anything I did, but just because the industry has moved on, and the industry just isn't interested in whatever it is that I bring to the thing. And this super sucks. And I talked about it on the Nerdist podcast. I would, just one more time in my career, I would like so much to book the audition and earn the job and go to the premiere of the thing. Just one last time. When, I did it a lot when I was younger, and I took it for granted. But now I can appreciate it, right? And I realized that it's not that I don't have a successful career. I do. It's just with my voice. I have this incredibly successful career with animation. And I have, I'm the original canonical voice of Ted Kord as the Blue Beetle in the DC universe. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm Robin in DC Universe Online. That's kind of cool. Michael Morningstar on Ben 10, and I got to be in a room with Billy West and D. Bradley Baker and John DiMaggio and Diedrich Bader when we were doing Batman Brave and the Bold, and the director was like, right? And the director's like, all right, all of you guys are doing all these voices, and Will, I need you to do this other one too. And I'm like, wait, no, you don't understand. Like, I've put on skates one time, and you want me to skate with the starting line of the 1980 Olympic team? Like, I don't think you've really thought this through. But in that was very much an instance of, well, I gotta go.
Yeah.
You know, and I just did it, and it was great. And I really grew a level in voice acting that day. And I just figured out with that, and then with all the audiobooks that I've done, that it is a very specific, different skill of just using the voice and just listening to a director and just working off of other actors and stuff. And not everyone can do it. And it's actually, in a lot of ways, much harder than on-camera work. And in many ways, especially with video game work, it's a lot more grueling than on-camera work.
What specifically?
Well, I am the voice of the male player character in the Firefly online game.
Right.
This is a super big deal to me. Yeah. I'm really excited about this because I'm never going to get to be on the set with those characters from Firefly. Would kind of prefer not to be in the same room as Adam Baldwin, but I would like not. I will never get to be like on the bridge with Mal and Zoe, you know, and Wash and all that. Oh, Wash. No, he's fine, you guys. Don't worry. I just saw him. He's fine. He's doing great. He's doing really good. I worked with Alan in Con Man, and he's doing fantastic. I'll never get to do this as an actor, but as a voice actor, I get to play scenes with Nathan as Mal. Like, that's amazing. And it was so cool. And there are things that you can only do as a voice actor.
Yeah.
Maybe my career is just sort of like transitioning from me being on camera for other people to being off camera as a voice, and my on camera work is with like the things that I create and write myself. And I'm actually really lucky that that's the way it's happening right now, because right now I can create and distribute things straight to an audience in a way that I never could have a decade ago.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. Well, at this point. That's a good segue to have you guys ask Will some questions. So I believe we have, if I'm correct, microphones on the corner here. So if you would like to come up. And, that was fast. It's like one person. I go over here, 10 people.
That was amazing.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll alternate sides. So just kind of, for the other person who's waiting for their next turn. So I believe.
I'll try to keep my answers really brief, and please try to keep your questions brief.
We may have to go to lightning round toward the end.
There will be a lightning round. And I want to tell you, the lightning round is just yes or no questions. And when we get to the lightning round, it has to be a yes or no question.
Or you will incur the wrath of his answer.
Go.
So you're a very internet-oriented person. Most people know you from internet works that you do, right?
Yes.
Are you familiar with Shia LaBeouf's Just Do It speech?
You mean the one that he read off of a Nike poster?
Yeah. Yeah, when he just screams at a camera to just do it.
No, I'm not, but that sounds fantastic.
Oh, never mind then. My follow-up question was to have you do that. Never mind.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's the most inspirational thing ever, by the way.
Really? From Shia LaBeouf? That is surprising and delightful. Good for him. Go.
The other side.
Me and my dad, we play board games off of tabletop.
Thank you.
But most often you don't play two-player games. So
Yes.
what's a two-player game you suggest for me and my dad?
Okay, so one of my favorite two-player games right now is called All Creatures Big and Small. It's basically the farming mini game from Agricola, which I like to call Agricola because it infuriates the gamers at Board Game Geek. I just found a video, and I'm blanking on the name of the guy. It's something lol. And this guy does videos. He's British, and he does these videos about board games, and he just did one about two-player games. And he did 10 two-player games, and that was one of them. Carcassonne is a great two-player game. I think Takenoko is an amazing two-player game. It plays a lot like tournament poker when you're playing it as a two-player game. And of course, Magic the Gathering is a terrific choice for two-player games. But if you go to my blog and search back like maybe about a month ago, you should be able to find a link to this video of two-player games specifically like for families to play that I think you'll enjoy. And thanks for playing games.
Thank you.
Yeah, go.
So I'm wondering if you could play any character in the comic universe, let's say, who
Doctor
would it be?
Strange.
Not Gru?
Not Groot. Doctor Strange. And I fell in love with Doctor Strange when I read Neil Gaiman's 1602, which I think is which like everybody who likes comic books should read. And because Stephen Strange is so amazing in that. And then when I found out that Cumberbatch is playing him in the movie, I was like, so I'm like telling Anne, I'm like, yeah, so Doctor Strange is going to be, and I can just see her just being like, oh, God. And this is what Anne hears. Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch, what? So I'm so excited that she's going to go with me to see a superhero movie. It's like at Emerald City Comic Con about 4 years ago, we walked past Jason Momoa, who's Khal Drogo, and we were both like, for entirely different reasons. Go.
1, are you doing this for 5 gold and a party?
Of course I'm doing this for 5 gold in a party. I've worn my shirt.
Also, what was it like getting that group of people together? Did you know them all beforehand? Like
Yes,
such
I knew
diverse-
everyone that I cast to be on Titan's Grave. I got a little bit of pressure from some of the higher ups at the network who wanted me to like stunt cast famous people, and I said, well, I'll have meetings with them, but I only want to cast people who play role-playing games. I don't want someone who's like, hey, look at these nerds. You're right. I want someone who loves this as much as I do. I knew Allison Hayslip was going to be amazing because she was so good on the Fiasco episode of Tabletop. I knew Laura Bailey was going to be amazing because she was so good on the Dread episode of Tabletop, and she's so great on Critical Role. I knew Yuri was going to be amazing because I've actually played games with him in my game room at Castle Wheaton. I wasn't sure. I didn't know how Hank was going to be because Hank told me I used to play a lot, but I haven't played recently. And I thought, that's great, man, because the audience needs someone who has that point of view for the thing. And this is a way for me to like jealously get to spend 4 days with Hank Green because he's made the unfortunate choice of living in Montana on purpose.
I know.
And
I'll
I
never
don't-
get
and I don't
that.
get I don't get to see him enough. So I got everybody together a few days before production, and we created their characters, and we built their backstories. And to teach them the system, I ran them through an encounter called Orc and Pie, which some of you will know if you're gamers, and if you don't, look it up. It's funny and a lot of fun. And I was thrilled at how they came together, and they invested in their characters exactly the way that I hoped they would. And the 5 of us have a text message thread that's been going on since the day we wrapped, where we send each other pictures of things that we find that we have found, cosplay that we've seen, like just different things that people have told us. My favorite one to date was Laura Bailey was at some weird secondhand shop in Hollywood, and she found a gold beetle that is basically the beetle of Balinor. And she freaked out and bought it, and her husband Travis was like, "What? Why are you so excited about that?" And now it's in her house. And I'm really, really excited to get together with them again for another season, just because I want to see what happens next in that story.
Yeah.
Go.
Hi, I was wondering if you could give relationship advice. 2 questions. 1, how did you know Anne was the one for you? And 2, how do you maintain a strong, healthy relationship?
You know, I don't really know the best way to describe how I knew she was going to be the one. All I know is, and this is going to sound like a load of crap, when I saw her, this thing in my head was like, you're getting married someday. Like, that was, and I was like, oh, all right. I could hit that. I think that the thing that is most important to any relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship or a platonic friend relationship or a business relationship, a relationship that you care about, you need to earn and continue to earn the respect of the other person involved. And you cannot ever have a successful relationship that is not based on honesty and communication and respect for each other. And there will be this moment where you sort of realize, like, if for whatever reason this relationship was not part of my life, I would be like a ship without a hull, right? I wouldn't know what to do with myself. There is a scene in the book Red Shirts where a guy writes a letter about how he lost his wife. And when I read it for the audiobook, I had to emotionally connect to what it would feel like for me if I had to live a single day without Anne in my life. And I was wrecked. And a little bit of emotion is fine in the performance, but I was like sobbing, right? And I had to keep stopping. And the director was like, "Do you want to take a break?" And I'm all, And I had to go take like 20 minutes to calm myself down. A relationship is never given. A relationship is earned. And relationships require work. Everything worth doing is hard. And you have to communicate with each other. You have to be honest with each other. Don't let things fester. You should never, a conversation you can never start off with, "You should have known that." That's a recipe for disaster, you know? And you almost have to care about the other person, like what you do. You have to care about the other person as much as you care about yourself. And know that, like, you basically are now, like, hopefully spending the rest of your lives together, like, holding on to each other's hearts. And that's a big responsibility that you have to respect.
Thank you.
Also, it helps to play a lot of games together. Go.
That's a really hard question to follow. So first, I was at work this morning, and I was told that I have to send regards from the folks at Agile Bits because we
awesome.
love you.
Yeah, I love you.
That being said,
Yeah.
one of the things about this just sounds weird. One of the things about you is you're kind of meta. You are both making geek culture and a participant in geek culture.
Yeah.
And how do you reconcile that? Does that ever feel weird to be on both ends?
It's only started to feel weird recently when this, like, idea took hold in a younger part of the internet that I was a fake geek girl. So this guy was like, "They just put you in stuff because, like, nerds will listen to you, and they put you in things that you don't even care about geek culture." And I was like, "Motherfucker, I am geek culture." It's the only time that it started to feel like, God, that is weird. Like, have I overstayed my welcome in Nerdlandia? Thanks. When I strip away the, like, just people being crappy and actually get to, like, what the heart of the thing is, the heart of the thing is, like, I feel insecure about this thing that I love, and I'm worried that it's going to be taken away from me. I'm worried that, like, a cool kid's going to come and take it away from me. Oh, I know how that feels. I felt that way my whole life. And that's why I love and care about our culture so much. And it was really upsetting to me that I was perceived as a cool kid or a popular kid who had, like, invaded our culture to take it away from somebody who really loved it. Because if anything, I have tried to throw open the doors of our culture to welcome in everyone who wants to be part of it. And then I thought, holy crap, it's working. Like, it's totally working. Anyone who wants to love the things we love is welcome to come in and love it. And for a certain kind of person, that's terrifying. Because they don't know what to do with, like, but there's the people and they love it, right? And this thing that a lot of us that are kind of like, I guess, high profile in the culture have been trying to do to, like, say to dudes, like, stop being shitty to women, and, like, that we've been saying to, like, to conventions, you need to have policies about cosplay. You need to have harassment
conduct
policies.
and-
And what we've been saying to studios, like, don't take us for granted. We're not going to show up just because you put a laser gun in an action movie. Like, make stuff we care about. We've all lived through the Star Wars prequels, guys.
Yep.
Like,
We've got the scars.
yeah. Yeah, like, fool me once, can't get fooled again. And I'm actually really kind of glad that culture has kind of come around to a point where someone's coming up to me and saying, like, why don't you prove your geek cred to me? You know, like, oh, okay. Hi, I'm Wil Wheaton. Get out of my way. Which I know is going to be jiffed and thrown in my
Yep.
face by Gamergate, but whatever. Fuck
Yep,
them.
it's all
Go.
over now.
I just wanted to say, ever since I was a little girl, I thought that you were my first nerd crush. Aww. Yes, I loved you on Star Trek, and
Thanks.
when you started going on the internet online and started really, like, coming back and opening up the nerd culture to everybody else, I was here last year, and I'd asked you some questions about online stuff, and you've inspired me. There have been so many
That's
times
awesome.
where,
Thanks.
yeah, like, I watched a video a couple months ago about imposter syndrome that you had done, and it helped me get through one of the worst, like, crises I was having as an artist. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Oh my God, you're welcome. Thank you.
I didn't have a question, I just had a comment. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Go.
Hi. Going back to your voice work
Yes.
and audiobooks, I had a question. I just finished listening to Ready Player One. And I was looking on IO9 and I heard rumors about a possible film adaptation. And in the
Yeah.
book, it's mentioned that you are president of the Oasis.
Yeah.
So if you're asked to be part of the film adaptation, would you? And if you were able to create your avatar, what would it be?
So, yeah, I would do it in a second. Since the first time I read Ready Player One, I've been dying to be in that movie. Not as myself, as, like, one of the other guys, as, like, Halliday. I know that just the realities of the entertainment industry are that the closest I'm going to get to being in that movie is seeing it in a theater, and I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be super duper great. If I could make my avatar look like anything, it would probably look like that painting of Fawkes and Codex from the Guild. That's my true form. I don't reveal it very often because it's intimidating to people, but it would probably look like that. Or as close to that as could possibly be rendered by modern computing technology, which hasn't yet reached a point where it can accurately define my abs.
Yeah, there just aren't enough.
Yeah.
Aren't enough. So wait,
Go.
real quick. Clock management. We are now
Yeah.
on lightning round time.
Oh, all right, lightning round. So we got to do yes or no questions. Go.
Have you been keeping up with Acquisitions Incorporated, and are you planning on going back?
No, I love them, and no. Go.
Have you played your favorite game on tabletop yet?
Yes. Go.
Welcome to lightning round.
Thank you so much for being who you are.
Yes. Go.
Woot Stout is amazing. Is there another brewery you'd like to collaborate with?
Yes. Go.
Okay, well, I just wanted to say that you were my biggest inspiration. I was abused my whole life. I finally left, and
Good for you.
you were like the biggest Star Trek was my life. I wrote, and I just wanted to say thank you because you inspired me to be who I am today. So thank you so much.
Good for you. I'm proud of you. Thank you. Go.
Thanks for coming to Portland. How many, well, it's not a yes or no. Are we going to get more tabletop sessions?
Yes. Go.
When you read that bit in Ready Player One about you being like the elected official, did you have to do multiple takes to try not to laugh or be like, aw?
No. Go.
Hi, since I thought you were in a very comfortable atmosphere and I'm figuring everyone's been a part of D&D and seeing Critical Role, I have a couple of D20s. Do you want to test the theory tonight?
Yes.
Yes!
Go.
Hi, I was wondering if it was weird playing yourself on The Big Bang Theory.
At first, yes. Now, no. Go.
Can I call you Wil Wheaton?
You can. Go.
Have you played the expansion to Takanoko Chibis?
No, but I bought it yesterday. Go.
Have you ever considered making a video game Let's Play channel?
I don't know what that is.
I'm not familiar.
Like PewDiePie or Markiplier.
Yes. I occasionally stream games on Twitch. My Twitch name is, I think it's Wil Wheaton, or I'm Wil Wheaton, or Get Out of My Way, I'm Amazing, I'm Wil Wheaton, or nobody,
Wil Wheaton.
nobody watches this, I'm Wil Wheaton, or something like that. I've been playing Portal 2 again, but I think the next thing I'm going to stream is just me losing over and over and over again to Attack from Mars Pinball Simulator on Pinball Arcade. Go.
With the new season of Big Bang Theory starting tomorrow, what are your thoughts on whether you will or won't be appearing?
That is not a yes or no question. Go.
As soon as I heard you talk about the Brady Bunch, if you ever saw me again, would you just start calling me Mr. Brady? Because my name is Brady.
No.
Aw.
You don't just get called that, you earn it. Go.
Okay, in future Big Bang, are you going to be dating Amy to make Sheldon jealous?
No. Go.
Hi, Will. I was unprepared for lightning challenge. Hi.
Hi. Perfect. Well done. Go.
Do you like fast food?
No. Go.
With the Star Trek original series reboot coming out in the past recently, how would you be positive about? Would you feel positive about a next generation reboot, and would you want to be in it?
Yes, as Riker.
The beard has gone to your head.
The beard has totally gone to my head. I basically just exist to keep the beard moving now. I've basically become just like a beard support organism. Go.
On the recent episode of The Big Bang Theory where you have Penny on your show, was any of that content from your input and experience as an actor?
Yes. Go.
Have you ever thought of having a drawing or a contest for us to be able to play with you on tabletop? And do you still geocache?
No and yes. Go.
So there came an echo. Did you play it, and how'd you enjoy it?
Yes, I loved it. Go.
Will you ever do another kids edition on tabletop?
Yes. Go.
What is your favorite tabletop game?
That is not a yes or no question. Go.
I was here last year, and hopefully you're okay with answering this. What's your tattoo on your arm? Other arm.
Yes. Go.
All right, so I loved that you were on Leverage a few years ago. My favorite show of all time right now, but
Thanks.
Did you like filming in Portland for the amount of days you were there?
Yes.
Do you like Portland as much as you should?
Yes.
Okay, these are the last two.
Last two. Go.
Hey, how's it going? It's awesome meeting you. So two-parter. Are you a member of the Vanguard? And if so, would you run a raid with anybody?
Yes, but no, because I'm awful at that game. Go. Hi.
one of my first internet crushes. You still are, so love you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Quite possibly the very best way to end a lightning
Can't think
round
of a better way to end. Thank you, ladies and
of all
gentlemen.
time. Thank you.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you.